Hi everyone, hope you're all keeping well and enjoying the videos and the great outdoors. Speaking of the great outdoors, I thought I'd film today outside just for a bit of a difference and to show you the different things I can do with a bit more room. However, you're probably in your lounge room or kitchen or wherever else, so you might not be able to move as far as me. But even if you just watch and play it back later, just so you get some different ideas, maybe you could go outdoors another time and follow some of these exercises. So what I'm going to do, there's no music. If you want to have your own music today, just play it in the background, as long as you can still hear me. I'm just going to start off by walking around a couple of times. So if you are in your hallway maybe, or in the lounge room, maybe just walking up and down a few times, or even just marching on the spot if you don't have the space. So off I go. Those arms as I get the heart rate up. A few more laps like that. Trying to increase the speed slightly and the range of motion. From here, just like we do in the class, we might do a few steps backward, in the heels just carefully forward, watch the stuff around you of course. Do that 3 or 4 times, just warming up those ankles, using the arms to help. That's it. This time what we'll do is a side step, so hands on the hips, just step into the side. Depending how much room you've got, it can just be 2 or 3 steps to the side, or even just a step side to side. Do that one more time. Back. Okay, this time I'm going to do leg curls. I'm going to turn. I bring those heels up to my back side, I'm pulling my arms back, working my shoulders. And this time, I'll lift the knees. Now if you're not comfortable to go in reverse, just do this forward and turn around. Okay, nice and slow. Go forward, engage those abs. And one more time. So now what we'll do is a little bit of dynamic stretching, and then I'm going to teach you some air boxing, which can also be used as a warm-up. So what we'll do is circling those arms, and we're going to be using the shoulders. Circle one way, and then we'll circle the other way. Now if your shoulders don't like these big circles, just make it smaller moves. So we'll go like so. Imagine you're washing windows. Plenty of time to do that now. And then as you keep circling, make those bigger circles if you can. Right around to the side, as far as your shoulders want to go. And then we'll change the direction, those circles, coming back into the middle. Very good. It's also good to warm up that back because we're going to be doing a little bit of punching with twisting. So what I'm trying to think about today is the exercises I'm planning to do, and trying to think about the stretches that my body needs first before I do those particular exercises. So I'm making the stretching a little bit more specific to the exercise I'm planning to do. I'm also going to add a few kicks. So what we'll do is we'll just do those leg swings, forward and back. Remember, punch your foot down if you need to. And also you've got your chair close by, hopefully in your lounge room or kitchen or wherever you're exercising. So make sure you keep that close by at all times. And then we'll do the other side, same thing, engage your abs. Good. And then we'll do those knee lifts or those hip circles, whatever you can manage. Just to open up through the hip area, getting ready for those kicks. Just cross those arms a few times front to back. And then we'll lift that heel as we just twist through the waist. So we should all be all nice and warm, ready for our boxing. Now if you don't like the boxing, just watch maybe, and then you can decide to do it later if you do enjoy it. It's just another way of getting your heart rate up slightly and warming up. So we'll start off light, and I'll just explain the basic boxes. Basic boxing moves. So the first one is just your normal punch. Generally speaking, if you're right-handed, you would have your right foot back and your right arm back. But because we're facing opposite to each other, it's a bit confusing. It's not really that important. So I'm just going to stand like so. Shoulders are back and down, just like we do with the bands. Always get those shoulders back and down. And then we're just starting off with some light punches. So you brace your abs. Now you don't want to be jerky. You don't want to jerk, jerk, jerk. You want to be gentle with your joints. And you're just slightly crossing over as you punch. So these are actually called straight punches. Even though you're slightly crossing, they're called straight punches for some reason. Okay, and then we'll go from there to uppercuts, or rips sometimes they're called. It's up and under. Imagine you're about to punch yourself in the chin, but hopefully you're going to miss. So you're sort of bending down slightly in the knees, slight bend in the waist, nice flat back as you bring those arms up like so. And then the next one we're going to do is hooks. So this one you can sort of slightly lift that heel, and then you extend that arm as you punch out to the side. Breathing out as you extend. Now you can do this your own speed. If some of the exercises don't suit you, just go back to the basic one. And then the next one, if your shoulders are okay, feet down again, and you're punching up. Here we're really working those shoulders. Still pretty much looking straight ahead or just slightly up so you don't strain your neck. Breathing out as you punch up. Don't forget to breathe. And then the last one we'll do, it's called pistons, because your arms look like little pistons in the car. So my feet are hip width apart, bracing my abs, shoulders back and down, and it's little fast punches. That's it. This one works the triceps in the back of the arms. Keep breathing through it. Do another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we'll do one more set of that. And we'll count, I'll do roughly 20 of each exercise. So now that we're a bit warmer, if you want to go a bit harder or a bit faster, that's entirely up to you. So let's start off. Remember, you can just stay with the normal punches and not do the others if you prefer. We'll start off with those 20 straight punches. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we'll do the 20 uppercuts. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hooks now. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. High ones if you can. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And because the rips are faster, I'm going to do 50, but you stop whenever you need. Here we go. 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Good job. So you should well and truly be warmed up, and also, depending on how hard you went, you might have your heart rate up a little bit, and that's what we're aiming to do. So it's not just a warm-up, it's a bit of cardio exercise, besides just your normal walking that you might do on other days. You could continue and do more boxing and go faster and harder and make it a complete cardio session if you wanted to, or you could just simply do the boxing just to warm up your arms to prepare for band work or something else, which is what we're going to move on to next. Just before we move on to our band work, I forgot all about the kicks. I've prepared your hips for those kicks, so let's do some kicks now. So we'll start off small and light, and this is where I would like you to have that chair next to you. So if you want to start off with your right knee, you would then have the chair on the left side, and you can hold it. I'm just going to use my arms for momentum, but make sure you've got that chair close by. So we'll just do small ones. It's basically just a knee lift. We'll just do about 10. Another 3, 2, and 1. Now just so you can stay on this same side, we'll go from there to the same leg with kicks. Now if you don't want to do the kicks, stay with the knees. So this time it's more of an extension of the leg. And then you're just stepping back or even lunging back. So it's a slower move. Main thing to do is to try not to arch your back. Just come up as far as you're comfortable. 2 more. And 1. Also elevates your heart rate slightly because it's a bigger muscle group, lots of blood and oxygen. So let's bring your chair to the other side now, and now you're going to work your left leg. So this time, starting with the knees, just 2 more, and 10. Good job. Shake it out if you need. You've got that chair right there if you need it, and now it's kicks if you can. Breathe out as you kick. Last 2. And 1. Shake it out. So we'll do 1 more set, and this time coming back to the first side. Now I'm going to stand side on this time so that you can just see my posture as I do the kicks in the knees. So I'm going back to that first leg. It's just a knee lift. It's up. Sliding that knee into the chest. It can be a small move or a big move. You work your own pace, you work your own speed. Last 3, 2, 1. Now what I want to show you particularly with the kicks, when you kick, don't arch your back. That's very easy to hurt your back that way. So it's more like just coming up and kicking and then back down. If you prefer to stay with the knees, please just stay with the knees. Here we go. Set a 10 if you can. Breathing out as you kick. Slight bend in that other leg. Last 3, 2, 1. Good job. Shake it out. Swap sides with your chair. Last set, last leg. So slightly leaning forward, using the arms or holding onto the chair, driving that knee up. Two more. And 10. Good job. Last one. Here we go with the kicks. Make sure you don't arch that back. You don't want to lean back. You're leaning forward if anything. Last 2. And 1. Good job. Definitely should have your heart rate up a little bit from that one. And also could be a good balance challenge if you had the chair close by and you want to try next time without relying on the chair, just keep it close by, then you're also challenging your balance. So grabbing your bands now, and we'll move on with the band work. Grab a drink as well before you start. So we're going to use the bands with the handles today. If you don't have the handle bands, go back to the bands we used in the video a few weeks ago and just see how you can manage with those. Let's start off with the band on your right foot. And then for this one, I've got both handles in my left hand, but if you find that's too strong, you can just put one hand on the thigh like so. So you've just got that half strength, okay? Depending on the length of the band also, you can either hold it below the handles, or if you don't have handles, you're just grabbing the top of the band. So first of all, we start off with our feet hip width apart, shoulders are back and down, and we're stepping out to the side, doing that nice side lunge as we pull the band. Do that as you extend that arm. Now for some reason, the side lunge doesn't suit you, you could just be a side step. Or if the pulling doesn't suit you, you could do the lunge and just rest your arm. Ideally, pulling the band as you step to the side with a slight lunge, as long as it doesn't hurt your knee. Sticking the butt out a bit will take the pressure out of your knee. Just do 2 more. And 1. Now we'll keep it on this foot for now. This is where I get rid of the middle band, the one between the 2 feet. Make sure it's not going to slip first. Shoulders back and down. This time we'll keep the foot wide. So it's a little bit, quite wide actually, a bit wider than hip width. And I'm rotating and doing that wood chop effect. So just adjust your band so that you're able to try and straighten both of those arms as you twist. Now if for some reason you're not able to go up like so, you could just go around to the side. You're still getting that nice rotation, but ideally, really trying to extend that arm and breathe out as we twist. Just do 2 more. Last one. Great work. Let's swap feet now. We'll go back to the first one. So I've got it nice and even. I'm holding the handles in my right hand as I step out to the right, and it's on my left foot. Now remember, if you're in the lounge room with your chair, you've got it right next to you if you need it. So this time will be on your left hand side. Big step if you can with a slight lunge as you pull that band. Straight out to the side. Nice inner thigh stretch as well. Roughly 10 to 12, but whatever feels right for you is also good. Just 2 more. And 1. Okay, so we'll drop that band down, make sure it's not going to slip. Feet go together, bring it out fairly wide, and then there's that wood chop. So if you can, it's a twist, and you're trying to straighten both arms. Last 4, if you can. 1, great work. Okay, this time I'm going to just keep it on that 1 foot. It doesn't matter what foot we use now. And I'm going to do my triceps. So I find my particular band is a little bit long for this one. I'm actually going to hold it below the handles just so I get more resistance. I'm in a bit of a lunging position, so if you find that's hard to balance, just separate your feet a bit more. And we're pulling back, so it's straight arms. I'm not bending the elbows for this one. Looking just slightly to the front, so I've got a nice straight neck, flat back. Four more. Last 2. And 1. Great job. Okay, just so while we're here, we'll keep it on that foot. We'll do a couple more here. This time we're in that lunging position still. If you can, it's called a chest fly, a reverse fly, where you're pulling up like so. And this is one where I can't emphasize enough how to keep your shoulders back and down before you start, otherwise it could strain your neck. If you find your shoulders don't like this action, what you could do is you could go back to the triceps, or you can just pull back like so. But ideally, we're trying to work those upper back and shoulder muscles, and by leaning forward like so, you target the back muscles as well. Stop when you need to. We'll do just another 2. And 1. Okay, so we'll swap feet just so we're not putting the weight on the one leg all the time. Now this time I'm going to do bicep curls. So depending on the length of the band, if you have a long band you might be able to stand upright. If you've got a shorter band you might need to lean forward. I'm going to do single arms today. It's good to work the arms individually, not always together. Just helps to get rid of some imbalances sometimes. Also, if you've got one bad shoulder or one bad arm, you just always do the good side. That's it, bringing that fist right up to the shoulder, keeping the elbows down to the side. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Alright, this time we'll lean forward again, but instead of pulling straight back like we do with the triceps, we're going to bend the elbows. So I'm pulling up, just in front, and pulling back, thinking about squeezing the shoulder blades behind the back as I pull those arms back. That's it. Just 2 more. And 1. Great work. We're nearly there. Okay, this time I'm going to stand on it with both of my feet. Okay. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to crisscross the ends, so hopefully your band's long enough. If you don't want to use the band, just do your arms. So the first one is going to be my arms. I've got a slight bend in those knees, leaning forward, nice flat back, and I'm pulling up and out like that. Now I find the band's a little bit too long for this one, so again I'm going to hold it just below the handles. So this time I'm sort of pulling outward, whereas the last time I was pulling back. So there's a slight difference. And because I'm leaning forward, I'm also working those back muscles, which we don't often work. Breathing out as you pull that band back. 4 more. And 1. Good work. Okay, so from here, keep it there, but standing upright. This is where you could get rid of the band altogether if you prefer not to use it. So it's a little bit awkward. I'm on grass. It's probably better if you are on a tiled floor or a carpeted floor. We'll see how we go. So I'm going to start off just with a side kick or a side tap. So depending on the strength of your band, if this is too much for you, perfectly okay to do it without the band. Or if you have the other type of bands that you put around your ankles or your knees, those smaller bands that we use sometimes, would be a great opportunity to grab that one instead. It's just a kick to the side or a tap to the side, working the side of the hip. And we'll just do 2 more on the side. And 1. Now for these ones, I should have mentioned, if you do have balance issues, you might want to have that chair in front of you, particularly for this one, because we're going to lean forward just a touch so we don't arch our back. So you could even have your hands on the top of the chair as you lean forward slightly. I'll show you side on. So I've got a nice flat back, and then I'm going to squeeze one leg behind and then the other. So it can just be a tap or it can be a kick. I'm trying to engage my abs, my glutes, which is my backside, as I push that leg back. Two more either side. And 1. Great job. Okay, I'll release the band now from the feet, and we'll do a little bit of arm work. So this is pretty much the same stuff that you did with the other bands in an earlier episode. So either band will work, but today I'll use this one since I have it. And we'll start off with our feet just a bit wider than hip width apart, so we can add the squats in if you wish. So depending on the strength of your band, I find this one's a bit strong if I double it over like that. So I'm actually going to hold it like so. If the handles are a bother, what you can do is wrap them around like this. Something like this anyway, and then you've got a bit of a handle to hold on to, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start off shoulders back and down, pulling that band. Breathe out as you pull, working the chest. And then what I'm going to do is as I pull the band, I'm dropping the butt. So it's a wide squat, feet are pointing out slightly, just getting as deep as you possibly can. I'll show you side on. 4 more. 2 and 1. Great work. Okay, so we'll keep it in that position. I'll just fix my handle up a bit. Okay, so it's still about the same width, but this time I'm going to reach up and try and pull downward. So think about having a proud chest, lifting up, and then slowly pull down. So tucking my chin in so I don't strain my neck, just slightly looking up as that band goes up and down. Breathe in, breathe out. Now stay with that if you need. Otherwise, if you can, it's one behind and one in front. Breathe in, breathe out. Now if you wanted to, you could do those side steps as you pull the band, or you could just step side to side, or one step. But the focus is on the arms. Okay, back to the middle. This time we'll have it so our palms are facing up, like so. The handle's nice and comfy. Shoulders stay into the side, and it's that rotator cuff. So just rotating through the shoulders, keeping the elbows into the side. Then what we'll do is we'll hold the handles a little bit wider, and we're going to stretch out and really try and straighten the arms now. Palms are still facing up. We'll do a side step with it, if you wish. That's it. Again. And back to the middle. Good job. Okay, we'll bring it behind the back now. So it's under the armpits. So I'm going to start off this time with my feet more hip width apart and facing forward. And as I pull, we'll start off just with the bands actually. So let's start off with just one and then the other. So it's like a punching action. Punching one and then the other. That's it. And then I'm going to pull them together as I do a squat. So this time my feet are facing forward and they're about hip width apart. So if you don't want to add the squat in, just rest the legs. That's 4. And rest. Okay, so the last exercise that I'm going to do with the band today is our bow and arrow. And I'm also going to add a lunge. So what I would suggest, if you're quite advanced, follow me. Otherwise maybe just watch the first time, because you might want to just do the bow and arrow and leave the lunge out, or you might want to leave the bow and arrow out and do your lunging holding onto the chair. So it's a bit of a tricky move trying to combine the two things together, but this is how it goes. I'll stand side on so you can see. So I've got one hand forward with the holding on handle, and this arm is straight and strong. My other arm pulls back. I've got my feet hip width apart, like so. As I pull that back arm, I drop the back knee. So it's a static lunge, meaning it's not a travelling lunge or a walking lunge or an alternating lunge. It's just the one leg dropping up and down. Now if this hurts your knees, just stay with the arm work, or you could even do a balance move, like standing with one foot in front of the other. We'll do 4 more on this side. And 1. Back to the middle. Now I bring the other arm forward. Into the handle nice and comfy. I'm going to stand side on again so you can see. My feet are hip width apart. And then I step back so it's at least hip width apart, maybe even just a touch wider. And I'm pulling the arm back, front arm straight and strong. As I pull that arm back, I'm dropping that back knee. So I'm trying to go straight up and down, trying to not lean forward, that puts pressure on that knee, and straight up and down. Imagine you've got a string pulling you up. Got that back heel lifted. Four more. And 1. Great job everyone. We'll stop there, grab another drink and we'll stretch. Okay, so I'm back home now for the stretches. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'm surprised at how noisy it was in that park. There I was thinking it was just going to be peaceful and quiet with a few birds chirping, and we had motorbikes and aeroplanes and all sorts of things. But anyway, hopefully you had your background music to drown out some of that noise, and maybe even myself since I've talked so much. What I'd like to do though is just quickly explain to you the benefits of the different type of exercise, meaning compound exercises versus isolation exercises, and we did both of them today. So compound exercise would be something like a squat. So when I'm squatting, with or without my arms, I'm using multiple muscles. I'm using my quads, I'm using my glutes, I'm using my hamstrings, I'm moving multiple joints. So with compound exercises, it's very functional because you need to sit down on a chair, you need to be able to squat to get up and down from the toilet, to get in and out of bed. You need those muscles. So it's very functional exercise. Plus, because you are working more than one muscle group, you often can get your heart rate up. It tends to elevate your heart rate a little bit, so it can also be a bit of a cardio benefit. Whereas an isolation exercise, something like a side hip raise or a bicep curl, you're just isolating that one muscle group. But there are benefits in those as well. For example, just doing the side hip raise, you need this muscle to step side to side. which you also need to do in everyday life. But also it might be the case of you might have an injury or something and you've been to a physio and he might say you're firing this muscle too much and this muscle's too weak. So we get imbalances as we get older. So you might be given an isolation exercise to correct an injury or an imbalance in your muscles. So that's the difference between compound and isolation exercises. So that'll be your test when we come back. So take some notes. Anyway, now we'll stretch. I'm going to start off with a hamstring stretch. If you have a chair, this stretch can also be done seated. So we've got our toe flexed, nice straight knee and nice flat back. Leaning forward. And then we'll point the toe down and move a little further into it, then goes more into the shin. Bring that leg back in, same thing other side, tipping forward, whether you're in the chair or standing. I'm putting the weight on that bent knee, not on the straight knee if you are standing. And then pointing that toe down. Okay, we'll come up now. So now we're going to do a calf stretch. So if you have the chair, have it in front of you. So you can be leaning forward just a touch on the chair or bringing the same arm as the back leg across. That's it. And then what we'll do is we'll just lift that back heel, drop the back knee a touch and bring that arm up for the tricep, holding onto that chair if you need to. Very good. And we'll do the same thing on the other side, bringing that leg behind, pressing that heel right down, and if you can, bringing that same arm as back leg across. Drop the knee, lift the heel, and make that tricep stretch, holding the chair if you need. Back to the middle. So now we'll do an ITB stretch, which is that long muscle that runs down the side of the leg. So you can hold the chair if you need to. We'll bring one leg behind the other, bringing the arm up and leaning to the side. This is a good stretch if you're a runner. It gets quite tight. You might have been runners in the past. I was as well. Now just a little bit of jogging. Other side, same thing. Back to the middle. Okay, this time we'll pull the navel in and stretch in front, round out through the back. And then we'll flip the palms, lean up just a touch. Arms out to the side, wrist back, thumbs down, and opening up through the chest, looking up. Then we'll do that next stretch, grabbing the wrist, pulling it across, looking over that elbow or shoulder. Gently rolling the head, grab the other wrist. If you can, same thing above the head, pulling it across, back to the middle and to the other side. And then we'll do a few shoulder rolls. Don't know if you noticed in the video, but even when I was doing those circles there was a crunching noise, but I can assure you that wasn't my shoulders. I think it was the producer making noise in the background, who I might introduce you to next week for our very last video. But in the meantime, great work today, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Well done.